Looking lovely in coral, Teen.
Thanks, Norm.
It suits you. Goes with your water mug.
Oh, yeah. And I have my necklace on
Oh,
that,
yeah.
if you remember, we got this in Eden when we were on our New Zealand cruise.
Right. That Eden's in Australia.
Oh, okay. Well, it was
During our
during
Australian
the
New
New
Zealand
Zealand
cruise.
cruise.
And it looks lovely. And it's a sea glass
It is.
that a local artist collects and makes into necklaces. Looks wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, if you're new to the channel, we are Tina and Norm, and we talk all things retirement and travel. And today we've got a very interesting subject, haven't we, Tina?
We have going to be talking about fear of retirement.
What they don't tell you. Well, they didn't tell us anyway, so
No.
we're going to tell you.
We had to learn the hard way, didn't we, Norm?
So anyway, Teen, one of the things that people don't realise is that they're under stress at work, but everybody's lived with stress for so long that you no longer know that you have it.
That's very true, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that that was exactly one of the things that I had, wasn't it?
I think so.
I didn't know I had stress either at work.
And the things that cause stress are things that you take for granted, such as quotas, a boss you don't get along with.
Oh, yeah. And even with, say, manual labor jobs too, that eventually your body will not be able to do certain things, won't it?
It becomes harder to do physical labor.
That's very true.
That's without doubt. So how did you realise that you'd been stressed at work, Teen? Because you were denying it for the longest time.
Well, I think it was really, Norm, probably about a year after we'd been retired. I noticed that I was no longer taking Advil for headaches, and I used to go for massages like every 3 weeks. And I kind of thought that that was normal at the time when I was working. But then I realized after being retired for a year, it was just so different. The stress had just disappeared, just gone.
So that kind of brings up a bit of a funny story. Why was that restaurant chain named Thank God It's Friday, or TGIF?
Well, I think, Norm, because that's so real how people feel.
They love the weekends. They don't have to go to work, and isn't that just a subliminal sort of message that everybody realizes? Thank God it's the weekend. Thank God it's Friday, and it's probably because everybody's stressed at work,
and they probably don't know it. That's more of the hidden thing, isn't it?
That's right. So, what were you afraid of about retiring, Teen?
I think a couple of the biggest things was sort of I knew the job would stop and the money would stop. So it was, how do we manage?
We didn't have private pensions, so when the paycheck stopped on that Friday, where's the money coming from? Because we were not at pension age.
No, it was a bit of a scary feeling.
It was.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think we've always been good at, Teen, in our life is the ability to change, try new things.
Yes, I think so.
We're not afraid of doing that.
No.
But a lot of people do have a fear of change. To counter that fear, one of the biggest is, am I going to be able to survive on the money? Is the money going to run out before my retirement runs out? So we had a wonderful comment on one of our previous videos, didn't we, Teen?
Yes, it was actually on the net worth video. It was a comment by Holly MacDonald, and it's actually had 142 thumbs up, and 25 people have actually gone on and replied to it. So we knew this was a really interesting thing.
It's an absolutely fantastic comment.
It
so
is.
What did Holly have to say?
She basically said, why don't you try living on what you know is going to be your pension for, say, well, I think she did it for a year, but we're saying maybe you could do it for 6 months if a year's too long. And we thought, wow, what a great idea.
Brilliant idea. We never even thought about that. And why hadn't we done that prior to retiring?
Oh, nobody had suggested it to us, had they?
So if you're running up to retirement and you're a few years away, it's a great exercise to go through.
Yeah.
We've worked out that we have a lot of viewers from the US, from Canada, from England, the UK, and Australia.
Yes.
So we've done a little bit of homework, and we found out that, rule of thumb, most of these countries pay for an old age pension or social security around 2,000 of the local currency.
Yes, that's right.
So why not try living on 2,000 a month or 2,300, whatever your pension would be, and see whether you can live on it. And if you can't, then at least you know before you retire.
So then once you've done that, that leads you to different options, as Norm said. If you find you can't live on the just over 2,000, then make changes. If you have to cut costs like cable or internet, or even possibly going down from 2 cars to 1 car is a good one. That saves,
if you're reducing your cell phone plan, at least it's giving you a roadmap of what your financial retirement's going to be. And if you cannot survive on 2,000, 2,500 a month, then you know before retirement that you either have to cut costs or increase your investment return. The financial service industry has really done a disservice to us all, because we've almost been conditioned to accept we need $1 million for a happy retirement. It's absolute baloney.
Yeah, that's such a big myth, isn't it?
But you might really need another 1,000 a month to live on. You might need another 2,000, depending on your situation. We certainly live on our Canadian pensions for day-to-day, don't we?
Yeah, and I think the other thing too, Norm, when you said that, you can find ways of adding additional income if you want. Or the other thing possibly you can consider is maybe move to a different place. Move to a cheaper place.
Where the taxes are less.
Whether it's a house or an apartment, that you can move from one area to another. And we were amazed how much, say, the apartment we're in is so much cheaper than where it would have been if we'd have stayed where we lived before we were retired. We're talking about $800 to $900 difference.
And the other thing that Holly pointed out is that if you're successful at being able to live on what would be your future state pension, then you've got all those extra savings from your salary that you could start increasing your investment nest egg.
And the other thing too she mentioned was, as well as increasing, is pay off any debt you have. If you've got car loans or credit card, get rid of that too, because that's a big rope around your neck when you retire.
So doing that exercise will either scare you stupid or remove the fear altogether. At least you'll know what the situation is likely to be. And it's a great exercise. We wish we'd known about it, because it's such a brilliant idea.
It is, because that fear is very real, isn't it, Norm?
And everybody has it. That's the thing about it. And it's very real prior to retiring, and then probably the first year or two of retirement, you still have that niggle. Do I have enough money? Will it last?
But as time goes on, and we're now 7 years on...
No, there's no fear at all.
Now it's like, oh, what the heck, right? But it takes a while. So we didn't know it. So we're sharing things we've learned so that hopefully it might remove that fear, which is real, away for you.
And you don't have to be frightened of retirement and keep putting it off. It
is wonderful, isn't it?
It really is. The best job ever.
Yeah.
So, we hope that you enjoyed our little tale of fear.
And we hope that everybody is staying safe.
And keeping well.
Until the next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.